Under the same moon, we share the love, embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spreading peace and joy, it's a beautiful sight. Together we shine in each other's light. And now do we stand in love's pure might, watching the world share in love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in for the lunch hour. I know everybody has a busy day, but we're just tuning in for a few minutes to cover a few things, exciting topics that people are clicking in for, especially when it comes to Donald Trump, the leader of the free world, and also Sean Diddy Combs. We know that his case is prominent still, as everyone try to determine, play a big guessing game of how much time will the man get on October the 3rd. We're going to start off, though, by talking about the stock market. Right now, the stock market is popping. It's doing great despite what people are saying. And you guys know about a week ago, I went to the video that Donald Trump had posted in regards to 3 companies. Have you guys had any time to really research these companies to see, or perhaps did you do any investing or come close to it? What were some of those companies, the 3 companies that Donald Trump talked about? One of them I've been posting consistently on the wall is Palantir. Palantir has gone up tremendously since the video. And actually, Palantir, I was able to get in when it was around $10. So now it's around, I guess, 160 something. I didn't get a chance to look at the details, but maybe somebody could pull it up. The first person that pulls it up gets $20. You know how we do it. Oh, Drabanot is in the building. Nice to see you, Drabanot. Also, we have Sharon. Sharon is here today. Okay, Eric. Also, we have Uda on the go. So if someone could tell us how much that stock is and how much it's went up. One of the stocks that Donald Trump talked about in that particular video is AMD. And when the video came out, AMD was at $161. I think today is right around 176. So you would have went up, what, about $14 or so, just if you had invested the day that we had posted that video. Another stock that you could also look into is SoFi. SoFi, when I purchased it, it was around $5. Last week I posted it, hit $25 a share. Now imagine if you bought 1,000 shares, 100 shares. When I first posted SoFi on this channel, it was around $13. So I know one moderator in particular purchased it and had a chance to see it go up to $25. That's a nice gain on a stock. Another one is Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab I purchased at $3 a share. And now Rocket Lab is in the 50s. Can you imagine that? 50 some dollars, some odd dollars, give or take. So I try to tell you guys to keep promoting or keep researching these stocks. So perhaps one day you'll know a lot more and feel like investing and perhaps adding more money to the coffers. Yes, indeed. Let's start off with Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs. We know that his bail was denied. Now, let's go back. You guys know that I attended the trial 8 weeks, and basically you would say 9 weeks if you factor in jury selection. So I actually sat in court, was able to see the jurors, also see the judge. Oftentimes, Sean Diddy Combs, I would see him walk in each morning, say hello to everybody sitting. I call them sitting in the church pews because we had to sit on those hard wooden seats for the duration of the trial. But if you notice, heading into his trial, he was not granted bail at all. And even since his trial, even though he won about 40%, we would say, because 3 of the main charges dropped off, the ones that would have for a long duration of time, those came off. But as Donald Trump insinuated over the weekend when he said that he would not perhaps entertaining pardoning Sean Diddy Combs. He basically denied that it was a true win because Sean Diddy Combs is still locked up. They won't let him out. So they've tried. Right after the verdict came out, I was sitting there in court. Mark Agnifilo stood up and says, "Hey, Your Honor." Well, he didn't say "Hey," he says, "Your Honor. Now that my client has three of the main charges that have dropped off, can he please go home?" But immediately, Maureen Comey, the Comey that was fired by means of Donald Trump, she stood up and she says, "Hey, this guy's a threat to society. You cannot let him go home," and so forth. And in fact, she says that those two charges that he had remaining were due for up to 20 years, 10 years each. So at that time, we kind of thought that Sean Diddy Combs would go home that day because the judge says, "I'll make my decision by 1 or 1:30. I forget the exact time. But I'll make that decision because I'm sure Mr. Combs does not want to go back to the MDA or go back to jail that day." So he kind of set the stage. We were thinking, wow, we're going to actually see Sean Diddy Combs walk out today. But when the judge came back at the end of the day, he had a different tone. He says no. And then he laid out what we've seen laid out in the documentation this week, saying basically that Sean Diddy Combs is a violent individual. In fact, what I found quite interesting is that the judge used the words of Mark Agnifilo. When he did the opening arguments for Sean Diddy Combs, he says, "Your Honor, my client is guilty of domestic violence. He's basically, in so many words, a drug addict. Okay. So he has a violent streak or tendency, but he's not guilty of RICO." So that argument probably helped them win this case, at least eradicating the RICO. But when it came time for Sean Diddy Combs to get bail, the judge says to Mark Agnifilo, he says, you said in the opening arguments and also the closing arguments, you're the one who said that he's guilty of violence and that he committed domestic violence. Your Honor says you conceded that your client is a violent person. And so that's what the judge used against Sean Diddy Combs to keep him incarcerated. And he did not, as you know, he did not go home that day. So since that day, his attorneys have tried rigorously to get him out. And everybody was waiting to see what the judge would say. And we know that the judge came back denied. Now, here's my point of contention. I'm going to actually break this down on the member side later on today and give you my opinion, which I'm not very opinionated, but I do want to break down a few things. But I will say this. Being that Maureen Comey was fired, you would be very interested in the new guy because there, as they say, there's a new sheriff in town with the new attorney that replaced her. And if you look at the latest documents and how they're talking about Mr. Combs, it's much worse than the previous documents. In fact, they're adamant now that he needs even more time. And if you look at the rates of how these federal cases go nationwide, you often find that the judge will bring a verdict or a sentence close to what the government is looking for. I mean, let's keep it real. They all work in the same office, don't they? Right? These guys have lunch together probably 2 or 3 times a week. Who knows? But I'm going to get into all that a little bit later and break it down. And we're going to go through the documentation and show you the points of concern because the judge is saying this. He's saying that Mr. Combs, even though the jury came back with their verdict for the most part, that he's still in court, right? The judge is saying that he sat there in court, right? And saw quite a bit of evidence showing that Sean Diddy Combs was guilty, or there was some evidence in regards to things that he did. And I think, namely, he mentions force, fraud, and coercion, right? Or coercion. Okay, so we're going to get into that as far as all the legal documents a little bit later. But right now, we're going to go into Donald Trump. Mashona, thank you for being here. You're always supporting, and I appreciate it. Mashona says, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Support the channel. Thank you so much. Eric says hello to you, Mashona. Eric is a good man. I appreciate having Eric around. Drabanat says, salute, Mel. Salute back at you, Drabanat. Sharon says, hello, Mel. Hello, Sharon. It's always nice to have you here. So, guys, tell us in the comments, what do you think about Sean Diddy Combs? Do you think he will get some substantial time based on what you're seeing so far? I will say that with the judge saying no again, it would be hard to believe that on October the 3rd, he would just be time served. That's something after sitting there, and I'm due to my um, account of what I saw, but I did notice that in court, oftentimes when Jane Doe would give her testimony, and sometimes even with Cassie, it seemed like the judge would be staring at Mr. Combs and he wasn't too happy. And also, I'll tell you another thing. When it came down to the juror that they gave the boot, that they kicked out, right? In the morning, the judge says, oh, because it came forth that there was some discrepancy with the juror and how he testified initially or stated in regards to where he lived. So when it came out that it was not true, the judge said in the morning time, I'll never forget, he says, well, maybe it's a language barrier issue, or maybe he was confused. At the end of the day, when the judge came back, he's like, that juror is out of here. And that's when the attorneys stood up and they gave their testimony as to why they felt that juror would stay on from the defense, right? They gave their, I think all of them stood up. Mark Agnifilo, um, what's his name? Xavier Donaldson, Brian Steele, all of these gentlemen stood up. And then the judge made his final verdict on that Monday. That juror was out of there. So, it goes to show that sometimes the judge appears to be leaning in one direction, but either he goes through more material. Maybe it was in the case of Diddy, maybe it was those letters that came from Cassie's attorney and also the letter that came from Deontay Nash that made him take such a stern approach. But it seems like the more the judge is allowed to think it over or factor in other concepts, it seems that he goes to the darker side, I would say, right? The less favored side. So we're going to see what's going to happen on October the 3rd, but I'm quite concerned because of the way this is shaping up. If, right, because I've had some guys come on the channel and they argued with us. Now I have an attorney that comes on Sunday, and he felt like from the beginning, Diddy would be looking at maybe 3 years, right, when it's all said and done. The other guys came on and says, oh, you're out of your mind. He'll probably get away with no time or time served, right? But the question is, if this is so light as what you guys are saying, right? If it's so light, why won't they allow the man to go home, right? If what you're saying is right, then technically they should let him go home. But the judge is coming back saying, no, this man is a threat and so forth and so on. So you have to factor that in. And as they say down south, it don't look good. But we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens, folks. Okay, JDP is here. Thank you for being here, JDP. You are so consistent, and I'm highly favored to have you in the midst. Okay. She says, I think they're holding him for the other lawsuit in Cali, if I can remember correctly. Okay. And also, you hear about another court case. I don't think it's a federal case. I think it's more of a civil case that's going to start in October, I think the 17th. I'm not sure, but we'll get to it. All right. Mashona says, it seemed as though the Mann Act gives the judge allowance for a longer sentence, and it doesn't help the defense admit it to violence, which can imply coercion, or at least, in my opinion. Thank you, Mashona, for your input. Eric says, if you're enjoying the show, please like. Thank you. Okay. Mashona says, yes, JDP, I think there's something coming down the pipeline. Yes, indeed. Okay, Deborah is here. We always enjoy Deborah. Deborah says, say my name, say my name. All right, sing the song too. Mashona says, hi to you, Deborah. JDP says, thank you for confirming. Okay, Mr. D says, this entertainment industry consumes your thoughts and time and purpose. The leftist mental manipulation. Okay, thank you for your point, Mr. D. We really care about what you think. Latrell says, peace, family. Yes, indeed, Latrell, thank you. And thank you, Latrell, for being a member, too. I saw that. Shout out to you. Okay, so moving right along. Again, we're going to get back to Diddy and go through all the documentation. But for now, the lunch hour, we want to keep it moving. We want to talk about Donald J. Trump. You know, we talk about Trump a lot on this channel. And as I've told you guys many times, Donald Trump's brother was my client. His name was Robert. Really nice guy. He lived local to me, and I knew him for quite a few years and was able to learn a lot about the history of the family and different conversations that Donald Trump's father would tell his sons. And I found that quite interesting. We have a video, folks, of Donald Trump's biographer. And check this out. I want you to see what he has to say. He's been writing about Donald Trump for years, and we're going to get right to it. All right.
But at any rate, at one point, after Trump had been elected, I was sitting talking to Epstein, and he said, wait a minute, I got to show you something. And then he went into his safe, and he came out with photographs. They were Polaroids, I think, and he kind of they were.
Now this guy's not just talking hearsay; he's talking from his reference point, what he saw and heard.
Kind of spread them out like playing cards, and it was Trump. I mean, I think there were a dozen of them, and it was Trump with girls of an uncertain age at Epstein's Palm Beach house, where all of the things that he would ultimately be accused of took place. And I remember very vividly 3 of them. There are 2 in which Trump is, the girls, topless girls, are sitting on Trump's lap. And then a 3rd in which he has a stain on the front of his pants. And the girls are kind of pointing at it, sort of bent over.
Okay, so Crankbait says this is BS. Okay, so already we're finding people that thinks that the biographer is just making things up, folks. Tell us what you think.
For laughing, covering
their mouths.
Yeah, exactly. And pointing 3 or 4 girls. And those are the ones I specifically remember. And my assumption.
Okay, so this is his account of what he saw. He claims to have seen evidence in regards to this. This is his testimony. I'm going to put the link in the chat if you guys would like to come up. But again, be very respectful when you come up. The other day we had a bad incident. Hopefully we don't get a repeat of someone showing something illicit. But let's have at it. Let's see if we can keep people in great behavior, not bad. So there's the link, guys.
Is that they were in the safe, and I have seen them on other occasions take them out of the safe, and I think it's certainly not unlikely that they were in the safe when the FBI came in after his arrest and took everything from the house, including everything that was in the safe.
The White House.
Okay, so he saw some pictures, and he thinks that those pictures were in some sort of safe. Bradley is back. Thank you for coming back, Bradley. Again, Democrats talk, and Republicans bring facts, receipts. I don't believe anyone that doesn't have evidence. Okay, that's a good model to live by. Anybody can make up anything, folks. Crankbait says the previous 12 smears were lies as well. Okay, they're not believing it.
Strategy is not to release more or any documents about Jeffrey Epstein, nor to explain why it's not doing that. Rather, the strategy is to sue anyone who directly links Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Out of the gate, they are suing Rupert Murdoch.
And again, this is Donald Trump's biographer, folks. Yes, indeed. Deborah says, let's have real talk. Okay, this is real talk. Okay. M. Peppy Pep says, this is just a disgruntled ex employee. Okay. That's a solid argument that we could entertain. Thank you.
Murdoch and the Wall Street Journal. Now, this is somewhat personal for me because I've spent the better part of the last decade, more than a decade, writing about both Rupert Murdoch, 2 books, Donald Trump, 4 books, plus 5 years interviewing Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow. So can you imagine that he spent 5 years interviewing the man himself, Epstein? He's written about Donald Trump so many times. So it's not just a run of the mill type of guy, it appears. It seems like a guy who's put a lot of time, he says over a decade, in writing and learning about Donald Trump and Epstein and even Rupert Murdoch.
These are my guys who have all of a sudden come together. But this is, of course, much larger than a personal issue. And let's just step back and recognize that no president in modern history has ever sued the media, because this.
All right. Thank you. Bordeaux is in the building. Welcome, Bordeaux. Nice having you here. So Donald Trump is the first president to sue the media. I wonder why. Why do you guys think that's so? Mashona says, welcome in and thanks for joining the conversation. Did you remember to hit the like button on the way in? Nice, nice.
This is a foundational belief. The media or anyone should have the right to take on, to criticize, to critique, to malign the most powerful man in the world. If the most powerful man in the world can't take it, tough. That, in sum, is democracy. But forget that. That has gone by the boards. The Trump administration, the second Trump administration, came into office suing the media. It was a suit against ABC. They settled that for $15 million directly into Donald Trump's pocket.
All right, so M. Pep says sued for fraud. Okay, tell us more.
CBS settled the lawsuit directly, $16 million into Donald Trump's pocket. The basic premise here from Donald Trump, from the Trump administration, has been: we will use the federal government to materially interfere with your business if you do not settle with us. I mean, this is extraordinary.
So according to what he's saying, Donald Trump holds all the cards, right? He holds everything.
An extraordinary moment in the history of democracy. It is the government directly taking on the rights of a free press. But now we're in Rupert Murdoch's land, and that's a problem for the Trump administration. For 70 years, Rupert Murdoch has staunchly defended and protected the hundreds of newspapers he has owned.
Okay, so we have DJ Genesis that wants to come up and chat. So let's see what she has to add to the show. All right, DJ.
Hey, how are you?
Can
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So it's heating up here in Texas. I'm not sure if you're aware about what's going on in Texas.
Okay, does it involve Donald Trump?
Yes. Well, it involves Donald Trump. It involves the redistricting. They have issued a warrant on all because the Democrats did not show up to the congressional House meeting. They have issued a warrant because they all fled to different states that were Democratic to avoid voting on the bill for redistricting. And so now Governor Abbott is about to I think he's considering removing them from their seats and also issuing a warrant for their arrest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So give us a little bit more of the background for the listeners who may not be familiar with the story.
Well, so Trump, well, I guess they decided to pass a law or a bill to redistrict Texas, because I guess they wanted to like make it so more on the Republican side for the next election, and Jasmine Crockett was one of the people that was going to be redistricted. So this was going to create like a situation where you have a lot of certain, Democrats that were control of certain districts to then be going against the Republicans in those districts for those initial districts that they had. And so what happens is that now they're about to vote on this thing to finalize the redistricting, and the people that were the senators, I think, or the Congress people that were supposed to vote on it today, or I think it was either yesterday, they all fled to different states, Democratic states. And there's like a whole thing going on where they actually passed a thing asking for them to actually do a warrant for them. So
Okay, thank you for that. If anyone else wants to come up to have background about this story, feel free to hit the link and come right up. So
I just found out about it just now, so I thought it was going to be, because they're talking about it right now. It's all over the place right now.
Oh, wow. Now, does this arrangement set the GOP up to take control? Is that what the idea is?
Absolutely, because they're going to make it so that I think that they're discussing to make them actually like step down. That they're like going to take they're considering making them step down from their seats.
So tell us, what are you seeing on the local news? You're right down there in Texas. Tell us all about it.
Well, that's the main thing, is that for some reason, I guess they went out of town. Well, right now in Austin, they're out of town.
And how many people are you referring to? Is it a lot or just a few?
It's a lot of people. It's at least like here, if you go on, I can show you the link of what they're talking about. I'm not, if you want to play it.
Okay.
I can show you
here.
You
can play it if you want to.
All right, hold on. Let me show you.
And so they'll be arrested, is what you're saying?
Yeah, they have a warrant for their arrest.
Wow, this is the first, right?
I've never heard nothing like that. That's why I said, let me hurry up and tell him about this. This is crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, feel free to play whatever you have. We want to know. We want to hear about it. I'm going to go through. Let me know when you're ready. I'm going to go through some of the comments because it seems that quite a few people are interested in this. Okay, so we have, let's see.
For non-performance of their congressional duties.
Okay, give me 1 second. M. Pep and Pep says legally he could take them off of the air altogether. Okay. All right. They are violating the FCC contract. Tammy Pierce says they fled to one state and she doesn't know what she is talking about. Okay.
Yeah, I just found out about it, but I was watching it, but I said, rather than me just watching it, I just like I tried to call you, and I saw that you were live, and I said, well, let me come up there and let him know what's going on, because this is like serious right here. This is imagine all those people in those districts and those Congress people being arrested. So it's crazy, Yeah. So you're right. I don't know exactly. I don't know everything. I'm still learning it.
Okay. All right, it's okay. Deborah says hearing about it. Okay, Deborah's been hearing all about it. Thank you, Deborah. Tammy says she guesses. Okay, and Pep says for non-performance of their congressional duties. Okay, Daniel Parker, welcome back. He says gerrymandering. Okay, so this is a big topic going on here. Okay, we have Mel New York Reviews is here as well. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to play the video, but I'm going to bring Mel up as well in case he wants to talk about this as well.
He might know more,
Okay,
but
1 second. All right.
This is breaking news, you guys, so I don't know everything.
Mel, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. We want to hear from you. What you have.
Well, I'm not. Well, first off, this is lunchtime in New York City, so I hope everybody's having a good lunch. And thanks for this show. I won't be able to stay long, but it's big news in New York City also. And what it seems like to me is I'm not in Texas, but it feels like what I was reading was that the mid-decade remapping, I should say, is illegal. That the governor down there knows that it's illegal because it's a law in Texas that they cannot do any kind of remapping mid-decade. It has to be the next legal remapping was supposed to be in 2031. So that is why these Democrat people who I love have left that state. Now, the man could threaten them with legal action within Texas, but they cannot be, nothing can happen to them when they're not in that state. So that's why they decided they want to stay out of the state. If they stay out long enough, that won't allow people to put the people that Trump and the GOP and MAGA people want on the ballot. So what I'm hearing is they're thinking about staying in to October, to however long it takes, because they have a certain deadline that the candidates need this year to be put onto the ballot for Texas for them to be valuable for the next election in 2026. It was something else I was going to say, but yeah, so they can do a lot of different things, even trying to remove them from the seat. I think one of the GOP's people said it's very hard because it's a case-to-case basis. It's every single Democrat who's not there. It's not just like you can get them all at one time. You have to do one at a time. So it's very difficult. That's why they don't want to go that way. They want to threaten them. They want to do all type of stuff. But it's very hard for the GOP to really get these people. Thank God.
Do you know how many people that have left the state? I heard they went to Illinois.
Well, some of them went. I think they have meetings in Illinois, Arizona, other places. But the thing I want to say to this too, because I know it's a little off topic, Mel, and to the caller. Listen, this is at the end of the day. We are all Americans. Even people trying to become American. I vote Democrat, but I do question very hard the people I vote for. I'm disgusted that there are people who voted for Trump that don't question his dealings. I love Obama. I question what he's done sometimes. I question Biden. I question Kamala Harris. As an American, it's our right to question people. So when you get this man at the White House saying, I need 5 seats, and it's illegal in Texas for them to do what they're doing, why are people not questioning that? That's the part that I'm having some difficulty with. We should be questioning our elected officials. We really should. Now, I've been researching about things that people can do. God help us if the people down there, the GOP, get what they want, because there's still things that can be done. And actually, I'm thinking about maybe I'm going to do a podcast. I never did one before, Mel, to the call. This thing got me so riled up that I'm thinking I have to scream to the mountaintops about what people can do legally, and that won't get people out there, cussing and fussing and all that kind of stuff. I don't want none of that. But there's some things that people can do because it's enough already. And because the idea is, for me, I think that if we don't have elections in this country, that's the death of America. I mean, we have to have a back and forth. We can't just have one people. I would never want Democrats to be in office covering everything for 20 or 30 years. Like, no, I want it to be a back and forth. I need it. It's like life. It has to go back and forth. It can't just be one thing that kills the country, in my opinion. It really does. So it's insanity that these people want to, redistrict mid-decade, which is illegal in Texas. People can look it up. It is actually a law in Texas that Governor Abbott knew. He knew that what he was doing was illegal, but I don't know what kind of justification he used, but it's illegal down there.
Wow, thank you for that input. If you need help starting your podcast, I would be more than happy to help you, but you're always welcome to come back on the show. I'm on live pretty much every day, and I know we've been emailing each other, so it's nice to have you up for the first time. That's awesome. Before we move forward, I want to show this video. I know you have to go back to work, so let me see if I can get this played.
Well, I want to say too, thank you, Mel, and because I've been trying to get you to a friend. A friend of mine has a podcast, a show that she does political, and I've been wanting you to come over there to talk about this too, so we can talk in email.
Just fill me in. I'll definitely show up. Just give me a time and date. I'm pretty free these days. All right.
I will sure enough do that. But you know what? I'm going to drop down, but I'm listening, and you know what? Listen, I keep up the good work to everybody, and everybody stay safe in these crazy times.
Yes, indeed. You've added so much to the show today, and I appreciate you, and I'm sure DJ Genesis does too. Thanks for that wealth of knowledge. Okay. All right. So I'm going to.
State Department of Public Safety to conduct civil arrests of Democrats who did not show up for this afternoon's special legislative session in the Texas State House. Now, this is all part of the fight for control of the U.S. House of Representatives in next year's midterm, and it's playing out in dramatic fashion.
Members, a quorum is not present. The roll has been called and a quorum has not been established.
Now, dozens of Democratic Texas state representatives skipped that special session that began and then, as you saw, was quickly adjourned just about an hour ago, actually fleeing the state in an attempt to block a Trump-led partisan redrawing of the state's congressional map, a redrawing that could potentially give Republicans 5 more U.S. seats in the midterms. And in response to Texas Democrats breaking quorum and stopping official state house business, the remaining state lawmakers passed a motion to allow the state house speaker to issue civil warrants for representatives who did not attend the special session. Texas Governor Greg Abbott also threatening to remove any lawmaker who did not show up when the state house convened last hour. State law allows a district court to determine whether a public official has, quote, abandoned their office, though that could become quite a messy, drawn-out process. Now, breaking quorum itself is not a crime, but if state lawmakers had remained in Texas, Abbott could technically order state troops to haul them to the Capitol. So where exactly have all the Democrats gone? Well, many of them have fled to states led by Democratic governors, including Illinois and New York, as those states are now exploring options on retaliating by redrawing their congressional maps in favor of Democrats. All of this appears to be building toward a gerrymandering arms race. Let's go straight to CNN's Ed Lavandera. He's outside the Texas Capitol building in Austin. Ed, what are you hearing from Texas State House members given the session that just adjourned without enough Democrats for a quorum?
Well, they've been ordered to reconvene tomorrow at 1 o'clock Central Time, but it doesn't appear that the outcome tomorrow will be any different from what we saw today, and that after a few minutes, the House will quickly be forced to adjourn because there is not a quorum. From what we could tell, there were about 6 Democrats that did not break quorum. So of the 62 members, it appears about 56 have left the state, and that sent off a flurry of activity. The Speaker of the House immediately issuing the civil arrest warrants for those members, and shortly after that, the governor ordering DPS troopers to arrest these members and bring them back to the Capitol. But again, as you mentioned, these Democrats are in states like Illinois and New York, run by Democrats. That doesn't appear to be likely, but that increasing rhetoric of punishing the Democrats who have left the state seems to be something that we continue to hear from more and more Republican lawmakers here as they wait for Democrats to return. And Phil, we are in the middle of this 30-day special session, and there's about 2 weeks left of it. So Democrats would have to stay away that long, but in the end, it won't matter. Governor Greg Abbott could just simply call another session, and they have the votes to pass this redistricting bill. But what we've heard over and over from the Democrats who have left the state of Texas is that this is about ratcheting up pressure on Republicans, making it very difficult and painful as possible to pass this redistricting bill, and trying to spread the message across the country that they believe that the redistricting efforts here in Texas is a threat to democracy. We spoke with one of those lawmakers shortly after she touched down in New York last night.
Well, look, we saw that Republicans were not putting the priority of Texans before the priorities of Donald Trump. We had 8 or 9 hearings on these gerrymandered redistricting maps. We only had 2 hearings on flood recovery.
There are Republicans out there saying that you guys are cowards for leaving the state, that you're not doing your job. How do you respond to that?
I see it the other way around. I see it that my colleagues are the cowards. My colleagues were the cowards when they took Donald Trump's call and then voted all but 2 Republicans for his voucher scam. And then they were cowards again when they took another call from Donald Trump when he said, oh, we're just going to do a small change of the map, just 5 more seats.
So Phil, the question remains just how long are these Democrats willing to stay away from Texas to make this point on this redistricting bill? The last time they did this in 2021, it was nearly 40 days. It wasn't that long when it was last done in 2003, just under a week. But in both of those cases, ultimately, Republicans got what they were looking for in a change and the passing of a redistricting bill. Phil?
That's a great point. Ed Lavandera, great reporting as always. Thanks so much for joining me now. Democratic Texas State Representative Linda Garcia. She's one of the Democrats who left the state of Texas. She's currently in Chicago. And I'll pose the question that our great colleague down in Texas was just asking in terms of how long is this going to go? When you talk to your colleagues, what are you guys thinking right now in terms of timeline here?
Well, right now we are prepared to stay here for 2 weeks. Obviously, we have to see what the move is after those 2 weeks, but we are all prepared to fight.
What is your reaction to the governor ordering civil arrests for you and your colleagues who did not attend the session today?
That doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me at all. My constituents want me to take this quorum break. It is within our legal right. I was hired by the people in my district to do what is in their best interest, not what is in the best interest of Donald Trump and not what is in the best interest of Abbott.
To once again cite my very smart colleague, Ed Lavandera, who was speaking just before you, the outcome here, at least based on if past is precedent, seems to be pretty baked in. But the process that you guys are going through is clearly as much about garnering national attention, making sure people appreciate what's happening down there. I'm interested if you're concerned that this is turning into or could turn into a gerrymandering arms war of sorts, where Democratic states pursue the same exact thing that you're fighting right now down in Texas.
I think it's unfortunate that we have gotten to where we are today, but unfortunately, what Donald Trump and Greg Abbott are trying to do is unconstitutional in the state of Texas. And while I cannot control what happens in other states, I can only make sure that I am doing everything in my possibility here in my district for my constituents.
But would you like other states, particularly those with Democratic governors, to pursue a similar pathway, given kind of the scale of the fight that's started down in Texas?
I think those governors know what is best for their constituents and their state, and they will take appropriate actions.
One of the things
I don't want to just play it all the way too much, but I just wanted to speak in between it. But I mean, this is crazy what's going on here.
Yeah, it seems that they're gerrymandering to the third power, right?
Yes, and so what happened is that all of the ones that are in Illinois got together and they had a press briefing in Chicago. And this is one of the speeches that was given.
Okay, Rose and Gala says this stems from the tragedy of the flood, and Trump told Abbott to get 5 more rep seats. Okay, so Donald Trump is the man behind the hour. And Pep and Pep says they did it one other time during Biden administration. Okay, now one of the things I picked up in the video, thank you guys for all the comments. We're going to try to get through. And one of the things I picked up is that now other states, Democratic states, are trying to follow the same method to get ahead of the curve. Is that true?
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like Chicago is doing the same thing. And yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, they said New York is doing the same thing as well. I think Mel that came on before, he mentioned that as well. Reggie says if the GOP wants to pass this bill of redistricting, there needs to be 2/3 majority. Okay, thank you for that comment. Woodsman's Farm says, this is all fake, like Russian collusion and all that nonsense. Okay, what do you think about that, DJ Genesis? You think it's all fake?
No, I don't think it's fake. I know for a fact that when you look at the actual group of people that are being kind of like redistrict, if you see there's a common thread amongst them, they're people of color, right? And then they're putting them against, like, making it that is not fake.
Yeah, Mashona says, why is it okay for them to leave town, but when Ted Cruz left town, they said he was neglecting his duties by going out of town? Okay, great point, Mashona. Solid. Mashona says they should still vote. We elected them to do a job. Okay. Hi, Lindsay. Okay, Reggie says this action has been done before, and trying to put a warrant on these folks is not going to work well for the Republicans. Okay, so he thinks that Reggie thinks there's going to be a backlash. What do you think, DJ? You think there's going to be some sort of, you're right in the state, you think there's going to be some ramifications?
I think definitely. When they hit that gavel, I think that they very much meant it. There might be some people that might end up in jail over it. Yes.
Okay. Knick-Knack says felons cannot vote. Mashona says, and Knick-Knack, thank you for your participation. Nice to have you here. Also, guys, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. We have close to 500 people here. We appreciate all of you, and we do this every day. So thank you. We cover the hottest news out there. And right now, this deal in Texas, Eric, who is one of the moderators on the channel, told me about this the other day and how it's such a big deal down in his state of Texas. So it's nice to cover this. It touches quite a few of the people that are involved with this channel. So we're going to keep eyes on this. Mashona says, yes, it's all over the news. We need to fully investigate for non-biased information, or at least that's my opinion. That's a great opinion, Mashona. We appreciate that.
Well, I think that when you redraw the districts, you have a certain group of people that got elected for that district, and then you redraw it. You're going to have people that are not aware of their district, of that specific area, because they're focused on their area. And so all the actual things that are important in that specific district and that these leaders are a part of, how that those things are going to really get taken care of if you don't have the right people in place. So it's really crazy to just for the sake of the midterm to you know, to the election to just redraw the line and not think about the people and the people that they voted in. You know, that's it's just politics and weird stuff. So
Right. A lot of people that come through, they feel as though it's going to be a long time before we have another Democratic president. And this kind of builds into that narrative. What do you think?
absolutely, I think that's what they're trying to like really position themselves for. You know,
Right.
I don't know why there's so much hate towards the Democrats because I think that, you know, both parties have their own things that are, you know, that you could like look at. That's, you know, I think that when we focus on Democrat versus Republican versus what are people doing in their district and in their section that they're working on, like that's what we should be looking at. Not necessarily Democrat or Republican, but is that person actually doing what they're supposed to do? Why would you redraw the lines unless those people are not doing the job, you know?
Right. I think at large, though, most humans want to be a part of a group. So people like having a label to say, hey, I'm blue, I'm red. It comes with the territory. I think a lot of it is human nature. So we get that. And so they don't want to really work together. They want to keep the hostility going. And this plays right into that narrative. M. Pep and Pep says, party in Illinois, yo. Okay. Joshua Tilf says, lock them up. They broke the law and nobody's above the law, right? Democrats. Okay. Joshua also says it's not illegal. Okay. So we have quite a few comments. So, Genesis, as far as what do you think is going to happen next? You think that they're going to make it, they'll be true to their word about locking them up?
Absolutely. This is Texas. You know, they say come here on vacation, leave on probation. So the moment they step put back and they get word, they're going to probably lock them up. I believe so, yes.
I think it's more from the video. It's more of a bringing them to vote rather than locking them up, right?
Well, a civil arrest. So what is a civil arrest? I need to look that up. A civil arrest, what does that mean? Do you go to jail or do you just get quarantined and told that, you know, you have to be here at this certain time? Like, or what is a civil arrest?
Yeah, I think they're trying to get them to, they're going to force their hand and make them vote, which may not be possible being that they have left. Joshua, let's see, Greg Coyote says, and also welcome back, Greg, says the Dems do it and nobody says a word. The Dems are finished. Okay. Mashona says, Joshua, you are right, but the only applies to Republicans, right? Because the Democrats are always right. That seems strange. Okay, Sharon.
But what about the redistricting? If they're saying that that's unconstitutional, why are we only just focused on whether they're Democrats or Republicans or not? What about the fact that this law is unconstitutional and illegal, and that's the reason why they left it, because that what they're doing is an illegal act? Are we only like focused on because they're Democrats?
Yeah, it goes by who has the cards, who has the power, and right now it's the Republicans, and they're having at it basically.
Yeah, it says warrants go out Wednesday, feds make an arrest on Thursday. So that means it's going to be federal. So I'm not sure if they even have to step foot in Texas. They could probably federal. That means that they can find out where they are, wherever they are, and arrest them where they stand. Bring them back to Texas and go from there. So
now, in your day-to-day activity, do people locally seem to be concerned about this?
Absolutely.
Okay. When you're at Walmart or at the grocery store, people talking about it?
Yeah. You know, because, you know, like I said, when people voted for these people. So now you want to redraw the line and make it so that you have to vote. You have you stand lesser chance of voting for the people that's going to be for your specific area and know about the situations in your area.
Right.
So,
it seems that the focus here is Donald Trump. Would you agree?
Absolutely. But he's the one that is calling in and calling the shots. So he's calling in and saying, hey, we should just we should do it. He's the one calling it. So yeah.
Right. It would be interesting to have Calvin Johnson come on and talk about it. I know he started talking about this a little bit on Sunday, but it seems that you guys have new developments when it comes to this, right?
Exactly. And look, Sergio was right. Why should they be forced to cheat?
Right.
Why should they be forced to force their hand to vote on a bill that's illegal?
Right. Well, thank you very much, DJ Genesis,
You want
for
to hear
coming on.
like the speech right here from Jasmine real quick?
Okay, I didn't even see that. Go ahead and play it. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. I want to make sure that I make it clear who these people that are standing behind me are. Because I don't think that the American people truly understand the amount of sacrifice that these warriors and heroes are making right now. Most people don't understand that in the Texas House, you only get paid $7,000 as it is as a salary. But these people are saying, listen, we are going to do our job because we understand our oath, unlike those that serve on the federal level and are Republicans, as well as those that serve in our current Supreme Court and happen to have been appointed by Republicans, as well as those that serve in the Texas House right now and happen to be Republicans. These are people that understand what it is to be a representative. They understand their constituencies, and instead of trying to stomp on them, they want to do everything that they can to stomp for them. And so that's why they're here. Now, let me say, this governor talks a lot of noise, and I made sure that I put up my warrant from 4 years ago to make it plain that they talk a lot of noise, but these guys are weak. That's why they're over here trying to bully people. Bullies are always weak. The difference is they expect Democrats to kind of be the nice guys that we are. They expect us to take the punch and say, thank you. Well, I am here to tell you, not only are we going to punch back, but we're about to beat you down. We are going to win. I'm going to tell you why we're going to win, because people are tired. And as it's already been said, we got a few truth tellers that came before us. A number of them came out of Texas. So I need y'all to understand that maybe you haven't learned these amazing warriors' names, but you will know their names. Y'all know how the president feels about me. Got my training ground right there in Texas. We know that there was another amazing Black woman out of the state of Texas by the name of Barbara Jordan that had to check another corrupt president by the name of Nixon. So I'm here to tell you, just like I told a group of folk in Arizona yesterday, Frankie Beverly and Mays said it best. We are one. For everyone that's been asking, where are the Democrats? Well, here they are. For everyone that's been asking, where is the fight? Well, here it is. But let me tell you something. Don't leave them out on the ledge by themselves. They need to know that you, the American people, stand with them because they are standing for you. There's so many people that they will never meet, but they understand the importance of making sure that they have a voice when it comes to their government. They understand the importance of standing for what democracy is and making sure that it does not fall by the wayside. They understand that we have a Timmu Hitler in the White House right now that thinks that he is going to become the dictator of the United States. Well, I got another thing to tell you, sir. The Democrats, no matter whether we're talking about these Texas House Democrats, or whether we're talking about the governor from Illinois, the governor from California, or whether we're talking about New York, or I can go through the states, and it's not just the governors. It is the state houses. It is the state senators. It is those congressional delegations that are saying,
can you pause
do what
that?
you got to do, and I will fight, and I will win, and I will earn my seat back to the people's house in D.C.
All right. So I just want to tell everybody, because we're about to shut down for the lunch hour. I know everybody has to go back, but tonight at 8 p.m., we're going to come back on and discuss the same subject because there's so much interest in it. DJ, hopefully you can come back too and we discuss this. So just so you guys know, tonight at 8 p.m., we're going to pick up this subject and also add a lot more to it. So please tune in tonight. We're going to cover this very well. You could go back, Genesis.
Okay.
I'm here to tell you the time is up for playing in our faces. The Democrats are not going to stand for this any longer. We know that we are standing for the people. And so long as we stand for the people, I absolutely believe the people are going to stand for us. So I just want to be clear. Do whatever you can to support these heroes because they are the ones that had to leave their families. They are the ones that have warrants out for their arrest. They are the ones that are doing things that, honestly, a lot of other people do not have the audacity to do. So make sure when you talk about them, press, put some respect on their names. I appreciate y'all.
All right. So thank you very much for sharing these videos and bringing this subject. It's nice to have. We have one of the leading reporters out there, DJ Genesis. She's not only a great reporter, but she's also a producer. So we value her very much and we appreciate her to the fullest. Tonight at 8 o'clock, folks, we're going to come back. I know a lot of people have to get back to work. I know you want to continue with this subject matter, so we're going to be back on. But thank you all for your comments. I'm going to go through a few more. First of all, Genesis, is there something you'd like to say before we close out?
Well, I just think it's interesting. If you look at the board, you look at the people that are being redistricted, they all have a thing in common, and they are people of color. So I don't think that this is a something that is done by chance or just by, not to like make it a racial issue, but I just think it's interesting to do that, and then the fact that they're mostly Democrats. Why is it that that they chose to redistrict mainly the Democratic thing? We know that this is a thing, a ploy, right? So we can't be so focused in on Republican and Democrat that we're not seeing the play here, So I think people need to like look further into it, look deeper into it. When we come back, please feel free to come up, give more information. I'm still learning about it. Like I said, I just found out about this morning, and I saw that Mel was live, and I said, let me bring this to the table, because this is going to be a real serious thing when it really comes down to Texas, in the future, because it could even just reshape even how Texas is ran, because those certain districts, they might be in the hood, I think that certain areas might be, mostly black areas.
Okay, very good.
So
thank you for the input.
Black or Hispanic, and they voted the people according to what, so that's the part that I just want to make it known, and not to make it into a racial thing, but just understand that so when you have a person that's put in a Republican and you didn't vote them, and now you're outnumbered, how do you know that your issues are going to be addressed? That's the part that I find.
Okay, very good. FJB says, name Republican president that ruined America. Okay, Mashona says the Dems want to have it both ways. We ain't going for that here in Texas. Okay, Mashona. Mashona's in Texas too. Reese says the far left is so insane they need to be asylum. Okay. M. Pep and Pep says, look at the lines of Jasmine Crockett District. It's ridiculous. Do you agree with that, Genesis? You know more about Crockett than we do.
Yeah, they said it looks like an octopus.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's kind of crazy, yeah.
Are the people happy with her?
I think people in Texas are, but I guess there's some people that aren't, but I think that more is because of her the way that she is, not necessarily what she's doing, but people don't like her attitude, the way that she's outspoken. I don't think it's about because she's not doing anything, because she does plenty. So I don't really get why. I think it's more of a personality people don't like.
Okay. Gear Jammer says, praise Donald Trump. Okay. Joshua Tiff says, arrest them all. If you don't do your job, you should be arrested. Good point. M. Pep and Pep says they need to just draw squares on the map and let those lines stay there. Okay. Knick-Knack 70 says our leaders need to be spotless, and we are seeing severely stained politicians. Human trafficking should have been number one on all the nation's lists. Very bothered about our nation and the lack of concern. Thank you, Nick Knack. We appreciate that. That's a good comment. M. Pep and Pep says Jasmine Crockett District looks like an octopus. Okay, very good. Reverend Green is back. Reverend Green, we'd like to have you come back up at some point. Thank you. And thanks for trying to participate last night. I appreciate that as well. Let's see. Reverend Green says feds are printout of warrants by Wednesday and arrest Thursday. Okay. Mashona says, welcome in and thank you for joining. We want to hear from you and just ask that you be respectful of each other and watch your language in the chat and respect YouTube policies. Folks, we have a good thing. We want to keep it that way. So please do that. And thank you, Mashona, for those reminders. She also says the opinions expressed in the chat are that of the person expressing them and do not reflect the views of the host. Thanks for joining, and we welcome you in, folks. Madonna Kettler says, walk off the job, lose your job. That's a good thought.
Well, that's what someone says. The Republicans did the same thing in 2023.
Oh, we'll have to fact check that. Is that what they did? Wow. So they have no room to talk if that's what happened, but I guess we could dig into that
also
tonight.
Republicans ended the last House session early to avoid voting on Epstein. That was to live.
Right, that happened just almost 2 weeks ago, right?
Right. Did they issue warrants for their arrest?
But again, though, they have the power right now, so that's the difference. And also, when you have Donald Trump backing you, that's a lot of backing, I must say. Mike Jordan says, do those bastards ever tell the truth? Okay. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for participating. Thank you guys for all the likes, shares, and subscribing. I really do appreciate that. Also, DJ Genesis, support her channel. DJ, tell them really quick where to find you.
Yes, if you go to at DJ Genesis Detroit on YouTube, you'll be able to find my channel. And, you know, I'm also the producer of the weekly legal review with Mel and Calvin. And, you know, my channel discusses various different issues when it comes down to politics, religion, and, you know, relationships, spirituality. So, you know, it's a pretty broad channel. So if you just want to get like different interviews, things talking about different things, definitely come to my channel and check it out.
Okay, Reverend Green, let's make a point of adding this to the discussion tonight, Genesis. Reverend Green says, nobody finna mention the Cincinnati brawl for a couple weeks. I want to go over that. There seems to be a lot of interest when it comes to that brawl, and I haven't covered it. So
yeah, I covered it on my channel a couple of days ago, and
all right, so
I can't really heat it. So yeah,
let's cover it tonight. Let's have at it, guys. We have to be respectful. We have to act civilized tonight, not get too crazy. We know we have MAGA here. We also have a lot of Democrats, and we're looking for some Elon Musk American Party. I haven't found one yet. If you've joined the party, I'd like to talk to you and see what made you jump over. Joshua Tiff says they get too much time off anyways. Okay. She said they only get $7,000. That's a low budget. FJB says it's stealing from the constituents. Okay. Joseph, and thank you, FJB, for your continued comments. Joseph Groman says metal yellow first red. Not sure what that means. That might be a bot. I'm not sure. Joshua Tiff says, who with a regular full-time job gets all the time off and still gets paid? True that. Thank you, Joshua. Robert Brooks says, let them all go to jail. He says, lock them up, lock them up. Bordo says, hey, Gear Jammer. And Latrell, yes, we appreciate both of them quite well. FJB says, dereliction of their duty. That's what we call it, folks. Pep and Pep says, it's political theater, and they all get to party and still get paid. What a shame. Kay Hillman says, Republicans trying to cheat the system again. Go Dems. All right, we have a lot of Democrats in the building as well. Leo, everyone say send them to jail is missing the point they're making. Okay, so good argument, Leo. We would like to have you express more about that either now or you could do so tonight at 8. I would love to have some of you guys come up and let's talk about it. 8 o'clock tonight sharp. I'm going to kick off and I'll have DJ Genesis here. And we'd like to hear from the audience. Please come up. Good announcement. I have a new system coming where you'll be able to call in. I know a lot of people don't like to come on the camera or it's too complicated. You'll be able to call the number and give your expressions. Not sure if I'll have it together by tonight, but I'm going to try very hard, folks. I definitely will. Joshua Tip, that's because I appreciate you guys. Please know that, number one. Joshua says, good, arrest her then. Okay, so you're talking about Jasmine. Okay, must have been so hypocritical, right? Okay, Joshua Tip says, by the people of your district, not the people in Chicago lady. Okay, all right, very good. But we're going to take a few more comments and then we'll bring it back on tonight, folks. Burn Sir says she just said that the people she serves should leave Texas. Wow. Okay, thank you, Burn. Nice to have you here. Foggy Osis says arrest them all and Obama will have to return the baby oil since his boy Diddy isn't getting out. Oh, man. What a shame. Okay. Joseph says those are some emojis. Stephen Drove, welcome back. You people making nasty comments are the ones that are part of the problem. Amen. Preach. Tell them about it, Stephen. Tell them to knock it off. Stella Dreller says, how about stop all the fighting and do your work? Okay, so we have a lot of people here saying knock it off, get along, love each other. All right, we're making some progress on this channel now. Last week everybody wanted to fight. This week people are talking about love. FGB says dumbest statement ever. Okay, we just took 2 steps back, but we're gonna pull it back together, folks. Madonna says happens in all jobs. You walk off your job, you lose your job. That's a good concept, really true. Joseph says we need to get all of them illegals off the count and our senses as well. Okay, all right. And Foggy also says they definitely should be arrested. So a lot of people feel like they should be arrested, folks. That's what the general consensus is for the chat today, is for everyone who left should be arrested. We're going to get into it deeper tonight, folks. So come back tonight at 8 o'clock. We're going to have a greater discussion, and we're going to really dig into it, have a in-depth conversation with DJ Genesis. And we also want to thank her. Please support her channel. Go give her a like on her videos. Those likes mean so much, especially on the regular videos. We get so many people for the live chats, but don't forget about those shorts. We have quite a few coming out today as well, folks. So thank you for this hour. It's been great. We talked about Sean Diddy Combs. He got locked up and they won't let him out. We don't know why. Well, we do know why. The judge says it's because he's a violent man. But let's see what happens in October the 3rd. I'll definitely be in court again, and I'll be covering it, and I'll come out and tell you guys exactly what I thought I heard in court, so you can come to your own conclusion about what's happening with that case. But every day we cover Donald Trump, Epstein, whatever important news that's trending out there, and we look forward to having more people participate. We also have once we hit, I think, 20,000 subscribers, we're going to create a small community where throughout the day you can post just like you do on Facebook and so forth, and keep in contact, because I do realize sometimes when I do not go live every day, people will mention, hey, Mel, can you at least go live so I can talk to my friends? So we're going to create a solid platform where you can communicate, but let's do so, and do so with the spirit of love and not just hatred business, and not calling names, and try to be respectful when it comes to the channel, because the other day someone came on and showed nudity. What a sorry individual. Very sorry. Sorry. So thank you guys. I'll see you tonight at 8. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and make it a great day until we reconvene again tonight. Thank you so much. And thank you to the moderators. You guys are amazing. I know what you do is wonderful, and it takes a lot to do it, but I do have something great coming your way, and I'll make an announcement about that today. So check in with the community page where we leave you updates, because I have something sweet coming for the moderators. So stay tuned. And again, I like to show my appreciation for all you do. And we just want to get along and do the right thing, folks. So I'll catch you later.
Different voices, but the same song. Building a world where we all belong. Kindness leading the way, breaking the chains. In the symphony of love, the thing remains. Embracing diversity, brighter days in sight. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. The colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.